It would not have been possible to produce all of the sessions and content for Punchback Print and bring you all of this content for free without the help of our amazing sponsors. So without further ado, here is a quick word from one of them.
Print has the tactile power to cut through that noise to stimulate the brain in a very different way to digital marketing and communications. Sensory stimulation is a proven tactic in retail, and a consumer's likelihood to purchase is in fact correlated with the number of items they touch. In fact, print campaigns that use textured or specialty paper will see an increase in brand value perception by 24%. Whilst the physical texture of paper delivers impressive levels of interaction and engagement with the human brain, using print innovations in addition strengthens the bond, adding a powerful factor of individuality and uniqueness.
Welcome everyone to the first IPIA session, where we are joined by Siobhan from Huddersfield Town Community Foundation. The purpose of this and following two sessions is to allow the IPIA and its members to physically show how the impact of print and print-related technologies can help any organisation for its objectives and support its brand with strong engagement. So with that overview out of the way, now to give you an introduction to who today's panellists are. On the call today, we've got Lucy Swanston from Nutshell Creative. We've got Lance Hill from 8 Days a Week Print. We've got David Loney from Matching Direct, and myself, Kelvin Bell, the VPress Sales Director.
Thanks for joining today, Siobhan. Really looking forward to this conversation. So to start off with, could you just give us a little bit of an overview of your role at the foundation and what the actual purpose of the charity is?
So we are effectively the charitable arm of the football club in Huddersfield Town. We were established in 2012, originally set up by the previous owners, and the remit back in that day was to just provide breakfast clubs into schools, so providing free food and a healthy start to the day for lots of young people across Kirklees living in areas of deprivation. We've massively expanded since that point, and we now deliver a whole range of programs, both within educational settings but also across the community, and we now work with people really from the age of sort of 3 up to 93. All of our work is funded either by donations which are made from the general public, or where we source grant funding by applying to other charitable organisations. So it is a challenge all year round to try and make sure that we are sustainable and to kind of ensure that we can keep our projects going and serve the community. There's some real areas of need in Kirklees, particularly around the kind of health statistics. So our work is really vital, and the impact that we have is that we have that brand and the power of the football club to reach into those communities. It does attract people. They might not necessarily engage with something previously, but if it's got our badge and our brand on it, then we find that it does connect more easily to them. So we've got a show reel called Terrier in Me, which we can hopefully you can see now, and this just will detail the work and bring it to life a bit more about the impact that we have and the stories of the people we help in our community.
Okay, great.
What is the Terrier in me? It's the beating heart of the Huddersfield Town Foundation. It's about the community being part of the team. It's in each and everyone's DNA. It's about Yorkshire grit, never knowing when all is lost. It's the power of the football club to engage, inspire, and have a positive impact on the local community. It's raising aspirations by engaging and inspiring individuals to achieve their full potential. It's about the pride that comes to mind when you think about town. It's recognising and valuing our differences, celebrating our diverse community and bringing people together. It's about not being afraid to fail to succeed. It's not beyond your reach, nor is it for any of us. It's providing accessible sporting opportunities and pathways for our local community. It's about being the best you that you can be. It's enriching lives by supporting local organisations to deliver projects in our community. It's about overcoming the odds that life throws your way. It means sometimes you have to face your greatest fears.
Breakfast Club opens before school starts, we open at 8 o'clock so children can come, they can have a healthy breakfast before the school day starts, so they're set up and ready to learn. It's opened up a lot of opportunities. I mean, we have Omar that comes in, works with targeted children who need that positive role model.
I am Holly Marie and Owen, and I'm from Huddersfield. My favourite bit about Breakfast Club is where it's real hard to choose, really. So it's all my favourite bit. The Breakfast Club has made a difference to me because you actually get into class on time without being late. It's changed my life and my friends' lives.
The activities that I am involved in at the Huddersfield Town Foundation is the employability course at Shelley FC. I did first aid, health and safety. Because I passed my FA Level 1 course, I work at Central Stars Youth Club in Huddersfield. The thing that got me involved with the Huddersfield Town Foundation was I wanted to improve my confidence. I wanted to make new friends, such as Johnny, which I know from Central Stars. The Huddersfield Town Foundation has supported me and gave me advice because my dad passed away September 19th, 2017.
I'm a striker and I've been here 2 years. The Kicks programme's basically a programme where kids can come down and just express themselves, and like this year it's been tough with people going through the GCSEs, so it gives them that moment to come down here and just let off a bit of steam and just enjoy the football that they play. I'd recommend they come down definitely because it's not even just about the football, it's about instilling a correct attitude in kids from a young age. Everybody knows what they're doing, everyone's okay, because that's the main thing, making sure that everyone can relate with each other, and we have it's almost like a family down here, and that's how it needs to feel, and everyone feels that, so yeah, it's really good. So we did a few workshops. We did a workshop about disability, racism, and highlighting how racism affects people in football and how we can kind of stamp it out of the game so we can play with equality. They can help me in so many different ways, with whether it's from a footballing side, a coaching side, or just something to talk about.
The Terrier in me. It's in our hearts to do the right thing by our community. It's about the first step that leads to another, then another. It's about one club, one community. That's the Terrier in me. Why not bring out the Terrier in you?
Yeah, thank you. So, I mean, I've been privy to some of the initiatives that you do that are, they're incredible, very, very heartwarming. What challenges do you currently face, in generating that income for you? You are reliant on donations. There must be some challenges around sustainability and keeping that going.
Yeah, it is a massive challenge. I have one fundraiser who works 26 hours a week because you've got to find that balance between the costs that we outlay versus what we can generate back. Like every charity in COVID, we are all now going to be battling for that same donation and that same pound. And it's about making sure that we're very clear about our message and what we do, and that we can create a story that resonates with people to donate to us, particularly in our area. Yorkshire Children's Cancer is very big. Kirkwood Hospice is very big. People will know their story. People can understand the work that charity does. Sometimes when you say Huddersfield Town Foundation's a charity, they don't necessarily understand the kind of reach and impact that we have. They just assume that we do football camps and soccer programs, which of course we do, but actually we do so much more kind of wider work. So it's really, for me, that challenge is finding our position in the marketplace and encouraging people, if they're going to make a donation, to choose us as one of their charities of choice. Because without that donation coming in through the door, it makes it really difficult to sustain some elements of our work.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So, you know, we've all come together today because we want to build you an amazing marketing campaign to support some of these challenges. So if we said to you, what 2 objectives would you give to us to allow us to deliver against this campaign?
One, I'd like a database. So, like, who do I actually communicate, and how do I communicate with them? And really an objective that is, I think, really clear about what our messaging from the charity is, what we do, so that people can instantly understand that, rather than having to do a lot of their own research or not be very clear about what we stand for or where we work and where that pound goes.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm really clear about is that if you make a donation to the Town Foundation, that money stays within Kirklees. And I think that's a really important thing to articulate, particularly to our local community and to our fan base. If they choose to make a donation to us, it is staying right within their own community. It is helping their neighbours, people who are less fortunate than themselves. And I think, you know, whilst that's a challenge, I do think that's a unique point that we have. If you make a donation to a children in need or a sport relief, that's a big national charity. You don't although you know the projects that they support, you don't necessarily know where your pound has gone. So I think for me, that being able to hone around that message about the localness is really important.
Okay.
Siobhan, how do you feel the brand connects with the current 28,000 season ticket holders, and what target audiences would you like to attract as part of this campaign?
So I would say across our kind of fan base, and particularly, they will know what the Town Foundation is. They will articulate probably its breakfast clubs, because that's what we've been most known for. And it's only really in the last sort of 2.5 years where our projects have shifted. So I would say that our fans do recognise, you know, if they said, "Oh, do you know about the Town Foundation?" they will say yes, and the thing that they'll most talk about is the breakfast clubs. Our demographic in terms of in-stadium fan, I would say is an ageing male. Politely, she sort of says, you know, but you know, our data would say sort of now really sort of 45, 50 plus year old white male is the average fan in the stadium. We need to reach beyond that. So whilst our fan base is a really kind of key area for us to tap into initially, obviously there's a much wider community across Kirklees that does need to know about our work. The fans are very proud about what we do. You know, they do take an interest. We're very fortunate in the support that we get from the football club. You know, only the other week, when we secured our survival in the Championship, if you like, we very kindly got the Huddersfield Town Foundation logo on the match playing shirts. So we kind of are able to get some of that brand recognition within the kind of football club and on the field. We need to find a demographic of person that wants to make either a fairly decent donation to us, or we need to find those people that are happy with just a very regular amount coming into the foundation. So I think it's that challenge between how do we find those sort of two groups in the community, really.
Siobhan, from my point of view, you mentioned building a database. Have you got a database at the moment you can use, or what's the situation there?
So not directly in the foundation where we would own the data, but we obviously have a very good working relationship with our parent club. So we are able to utilise a number of their communication channels to get data out. So we're able to put stuff in the e-newsletters that go out to the fan database. We can communicate with season ticket holders. we can get access to all of the media channels within the club. So whether that's, you know, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. But I would, and the club can segment that data quite well for us. So
Okay.
they can divide that up in terms of like postcodes or season ticket holders or fans. Obviously we've got data on kind of who makes a retail purchase with the club. But obviously in today's day and age, it's much better if we could hold our own set of data and build that ourselves, because whilst lots of people on the club database will be interested in our work, there's a wider number of people out there who perhaps are interested in charitable or community work or the power of sport and not necessarily a big fan of the football club. So their details wouldn't be on a football club database, but they might want to know more about our work. So that for me is the importance of building our own database, and then obviously just the usual GDPR that we can then communicate as and when we want to do so, not having to kind of rely on our parent club to do that work for us.
How does the club and foundation usually communicate with their season ticket holders and potential donors?
So mainly, obviously, now move much more into the world of kind of e-coms and via an email newsletter. The club does have an app, a Town Square app, so fans can obviously download that and have that on their smartphones, and there's push notifications that can go through to that. I would say we don't particularly direct mail anymore. I think that's ultimately the kind of the cost element of that, if I'm honest, for the club, and they've built such a kind of big database in terms of their season ticket holders. There's not a huge churn in people that are signing up for a season ticket, so they'll get notification that those kind of tickets are on sale, and they'll either renew that online or they'll come down to the box office. So we do rely very much on the kind of more modern media channels to communicate with the fans.
So Siobhan, we talked about, you know, what your two objectives are going to be, and one is, you know, awareness, one is building a database. Have you got any ideas in terms of content and hooks that we can use to entice people to do that and deliver against those objectives?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of kind of two things I think we can use. One is just the power of the story of knowing how you've supported us and where your money's gone and what impact that has. But, you know, we're also kind of fortunate in the sense that we can offer kind of prize draw items, you know, whether that's a signed shirt, whether that's tickets to come to a game, and just to kind of engage that person that there is something that they could possibly get in return for handing over their data. Probably we're all a bit of a sucker. If there's something in it for us, then we're more likely to do it as opposed to just signing up to kind of give that away, really. So yeah, I mean, we can put those kind of things as offers out there to entice people. I think for me, you know, both of those work. It's good to give those signed items away, because I think that encourages people to see that there is something there, but equally just coming back and hearing our story means that we can retain that communication with them and build that, almost buy them into the emotion of the work that the foundation does.
Yeah. So at the minute, would you say it's quite a one-way conversation that's a bit sporadic with the people that do actually donate with you?
Yeah, certainly. I think that what's happened in lockdown is that we did execute a small sort of fundraising campaign where we put an appeal out in one of the club newsletters that just went out to fans, and we were really successful in terms of people coming forward and donating. My sort of slight issue with that is that whilst they've made a donation, I don't have their contact details. I can't send them any further information. I can't tell them exactly what we've done with their money, and that sort of feels like it's a transaction very much one way, and that won't help us in terms of getting repeat donors or encouraging people to kind of come back in another 12 months and make a donation, or to kind of have that as a regular direct debit. It feels almost like we've taken their money and done a bit of a runner, and we're not able to tell them what we do with that, purely because if we can put another story back out, but it just goes out in a general club newsletter. It's not targeted specifically to those people who came forward and made a donation. It's just a general hit everybody on that e-coms, really.
Got you. Okay.
sorry to interrupt, I take it's very similar if you do a foundation day at one of the home games. You've really not got that connection with the individual, have you?
No, again, you know, we are lucky. We get at least 1 or 2 games every season where we completely take over that match day presence. So, you know, from being on the front of shirt to information on the LED boards. So we'll run a text donate campaign on the LEDs as they're going around during the game. We take over the match day programme. We have staff that are in all the hospitality boxes and lounges. So yes, we're able to tell the people that are right in front of us there and then what we do, but then we've got no database to follow that back up on. It's just relying on who's there at that very moment, who reads that match day programme. And as I say, it's very much about that one day. It's one day in 365 that they hear about our work, and we really need to be able to articulate on a more regular basis about what we're doing and the impact of the work that we have.
So Siobhan, the text messaging on match days and the advertising in the magazine, what other fundraising activity do you do? Do you sell merchandise, things like that?
We don't sell any merchandise directly through the foundation. Again, we've got, because of the relationship that we've built up with the parent club, we've had conversations with the retail department. So we are looking at, with selling particular items in the club shop, that they would be marked up with a clear donation to the foundation. So as everyone now has to have a face mask and a face covering, true to form, as a football club, we've not missed an opportunity. We've launched a branded Huddersfield Town face mask, but within the purchase of that, it does detail that there's a £1 donation that comes in to the foundation. And then in terms of the rest of our events, I would say that it's quite traditional. So we do a ball that relies on mainly corporates buying a table and coming for an evening. And at that event, we'll do the usual kind of stuff. So a gift aid envelope on a table, a prize draw, silent auctions, live auctions. We've done a little bit more during lockdown. So we did participate in the 2.6 challenge that was organised nationally. And we've got a group of people that should have been running the Great North Run in September. So really trying to get people to take on fundraising activities by themselves, but donating those funds to us. So we're still quite young in some of the sort of range of fundraising activities that we do, but trying to find that balance where we take the lead for organising them, and then other people come forward and do that fundraising on our behalf, and it doesn't require us to execute event or put kind of resource and staff time into it.
Okay, so would you consider other forms of fundraising, maybe your own online shop where fans could personalise merchandise, even personalised face masks with a profit, you know, the money coming directly to you?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a great kind of opportunity for us, I think, because we do have such a loyal fan base. And at the moment, we've not kind of gone down that avenue before. So I think it'd be something really interesting to explore and just see kind of what the take-up would be. As I've talked about, our fans are pretty loyal. They are very local to us. So I think they do take a lot of pride in kind of having something that has the badge on there. And if we can also put the Town Foundation alongside that, then I think it just grows that kind of recognition.
In terms of print, Siobhan, what do you currently print now and how frequent do you use it?
So I'd say our print material's a bit haphazard, if I'm honest. We, at the moment, probably just rely on producing some posters, flyers for activities that we're doing. So when we come around to a camp, all of a sudden there's boxes of leaflets in the office. I'm a bit frustrated because I don't think we can really know what the impact of those are. You know, we are spending money and I don't know whether we get the right return from that. In terms of other things that we print for our events that we deliver, so for the high-end kind of balls and the ladies' lunch and that kind of stuff, we do have a brochure that goes on every placeholder that tells our story. Other than that, very, very kind of minimal things. At the moment, we don't have an impact report. So yeah, our kind of print material is pretty sort of minimal at the moment, again because it's just trying to find that balance between what would we outlay to have something printed versus the impact and the return it would give us, and we're not able to kind of measure that or get any insight. And if I did get some impact reports printed, I've actually got no database to send it to, so I'm kind of stuck in a bit of no man's land on that, really.
I'm just talking. Obviously, talked about the season ticket holder. What about membership in terms of outside of the season ticket holders? Is there access to that?
So we have got a set of data where people are not season ticket card holders, but probably are regular attendees at a game, again, who we could kind of go to. We obviously do have our various fan groups. So there is a branch called the Southern Terriers. So they tend to be, obviously, as described, they're Huddersfield Town fans that live in the south of the country. But actually, they're a really good group and they connect really well. They've agreed, they took a challenge on. They've raised nearly £10,000 for us this season by doing various different elements. But again, my ability, all I can do is put something out on a social media that thanks them as a group. I'm really limited as what I can do individually to kind of send them an update on what we do. And then obviously I've got no data on sort of wider community people that just would be interested in our work.
Siobhan, what sort of access will we have to assets, imagery, guidelines, that sort of thing? Can you point us in the right direction for that?
Yeah, so obviously we've got our own logo and a set of brand guidelines that we can absolutely share with you. In terms of wider collateral, we've got a wide range of imagery, still photography that demonstrates the impact of our projects. You can kind of see different elements of that, whether it's young, happy, smiling faces at our breakfast club, whether it's our people that we work with that have got dementia in our sporting memory session. So we have got some fantastic imagery. We've also got some imagery that we can share with you where we've got players actually visiting our projects. So again, it kind of brings that connection back to the football club, and you can, if you're a fan of a particular player and they're out visiting our project, you can see all of that. So yeah, we've definitely got collateral that we can share with you in that element to kind of bring it to life.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Just following on, Siobhan, about the resources that you have access to and how you're sort of currently deploying stuff. You've got a marketing exec and a fundraising assistant. So do you use any sort of technology or tools internally for them to create certain pieces of marketing material for you, or do you have to rely on the club designer or another resource to do that?
Yeah, we have to rely on the club designer to kind of do that. We've got two graphic designers that work in-house for the club, so we have to rely on putting a brief into them, sitting in a schedule, sitting in an order, and then sometimes we're bottom of that list because they've got more pressing issues to do for the kind of football club brief. So we do lack resource in that sense. In terms of bits that we can monitor our kind of impact from a social media point of view. From we know what articles do get the most attention from what we put out. We know whether we're increasing our followers. We get some data that comes in on the various online donation platforms, so Just Giving and Virgin Money. We can extract some of the data out of that, but it's not easy. And again, then we've got kind of no ability to sort of design our own e-coms at the moment. We've got a website, it's very poor, it's very out of date. That is another project that we do want to kind of address, but you've got to kind of do it in an order, and we've got to find the funding to do it.
Okay, and what so we've talked quite a lot around data. Have you got a CRM set up within the foundation that you can then start to build on this data and get more of a profile going forward?
So we're just in the process of purchasing a database, but that database system is based around kind of tracking individuals. So we'll be able to create an individual record around whether they've made a donation to the foundation, whether they've come to an event. If they come to an event, did they make a donation via gift aid envelope? Did they purchase an auction item? have they asked to come and visit one of our projects. So we've narrowed our choice of that database down to 2, and we have got the funding secured to purchase that. So now we'll be able to kind of use that system more effectively to input the data into and then to communicate, because we will be able to use that to generate campaigns out to, you know, when we want to reach out, we know exactly then that we're contacting someone who's already got a connection with us, who understands our work, who's made a donation, so we'll be able to kind of start to build on that.
Yeah, oh, that's brilliant. So there was one other question that I was going to ask you. I noticed you've got a show reel. It's a really nice show reel that you've engineered with various projects that you're showcasing, which is very emotive. Actually, could be used as part of this campaign. Have you looked at making any of your print items interactive before? You know, when you said about, you know, ads in match day programs and the various sort of leaflets and bits and pieces that you've been doing.
We've done a little bit sometimes when we, for the last couple of match day programs, when it's been the foundation takeover game, they've, I'm no expert in this area at all, but they've used augmented reality on the front cover.
Oh, okay.
So being able to lay your phone over and scan it, and then it has brought certain elements to life. So we've been able to create, you know, very short, almost like mini little movies that just put together a number of kind of images and sort of show a few of the kind of statistics. It's quite, whilst I would like it all the time, I'm told it's quite time consuming. So I sort of have to have that pushy battle with our comms department that it is what I would really like. But again, limited in terms of the kind of resource and skill set that we have available to us completely in-house within the foundation to achieve that kind of outcome.
Cool, okay. Well, I think we've got a good roundup of information there. Does everyone else agree?
Yeah. Siobhan, thank you so much for the opportunity for the IPA to support you on this project. We very much look forward to working with you and coming back to you with some ideas and suggestions of how we can support and achieve your goals in the next session. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.